Hey, do you want to learn some quick chess traps and tricks in order to checkmate your opponent quickly so you can win a game online fast and efficiently? I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Danny with Chess Openers. I'm making a video for you today on chess tricks and traps. We're going to be talking about what traps are. Essentially, a trap or a trick in chess is a tactic that's used when you're in game in order to outwit your opponent to gain an advantage on the center of the board. So you're basically tricking them into a move that they don't really want to do, but they don't know they're actually making a mistake. And you're gaining a huge advantage by them falling into your trap. So successfully setting up an awesome trap is going to help you essentially win the game. And so if you use chess traps on a regular basis, or if you have like specific chess traps and tricks that you go to and you've won a lot of games using these, go ahead and put those chess traps in the comment section. So we can talk about it. I'll be able to look at yours and things like that. So go ahead and put that in there, and then stay tuned. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you one final tip on chess traps so you can really up your game and beef up some of those moves so you won't blunder and you'll get more checkmates. All right, let's get into the how to. All right, guys, so the first trap trick we're going to be getting into today is going to be the elephant trap. I like this particular trap because it's a trap that's set by black, and I normally like to play with the black pieces, and you'll usually see this trap go into effect when you're playing against white players that are really aggressive on the board. And so this is a great trap, and I've been successful with this. The elephant trap was originally started where, from what I've read about it, it was started by two German players, Karl Mayet and Daniel Horowitz. It's an old, it was last seen in a really long time ago. From what I've read, it's 1848. And so let's get into it. So it's going to start out with the typical opening. It's going to be queen's pawn. So you'll see white open with d4, black then respond with d5. With the queen pawn. Then you'll see the queen's gambit begin with white to c4. Typical response back with the variation being declined on black with e6 from black. Then you'll see the response from white with knight to c3 from white, with the typical response back on the normal defense from black with knight to f6. After that, you'll see a variation begin with bishop, being the modern variation with bishop to g5. And then you'll see the response from black, a knight to c6. And so this is kind of the position you should kind of look into for this particular trap to evolve from. Then you'll see the response from white starting to take the center of the board to attack that. So they'll then attack with pawn to d5, and then the typical take back from black with a pawn to d5. Then you'll see the knight take the center pawn as a thought of advantage there. So knight to d5, attacking the knight here. But the response and the trick is you'll then take back with the knight to recapture there, and you'll be sacrificing your queen if playing black. So again, the knight will then move to d5, recapturing the knight there on d5, and you'll be sacrificing your queen. And you'll then sacrifice the bishop, will then take on d8, removing the queen from the board. And then the move that is the trap is you'll be taking this particular square, you'll be moving over to b4 with your bishop, because at that time white's only move is to move his queen forward to d2 in order to protect his king, because that's the only move that they have. And that's essentially the trap there. And so since that's the only move white has, you'll then recapture there with d2 bishop. The king only has the opportunity to take back the bishop there, and so the king takes it, and is in the middle of the board, obviously. And then once that's completed, on the bottom of the screen, you'll see that the king has the ability just to take back the bishop that was left there. And that's the position. You know, the king is open here and there, and so that's the particular position. That's the elephant trap. I hope you like this one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, guys, so the second trap is going to be called the Nagar Trap. Again, it's an old trap that was created, and it's a pretty cool one. So take a look here. It's going to start out with white, and white's going to be the king's pawn. Move to e4. You're going to see a response from black, which is the king's pawn again. Black to e5. You'll see the knight to f3 from white. Then a response from black to d6 with the pawn, which is the Kieninger defense. Then you'll see bishop move to c4 from white. On the response, you'll see knight to c6 from black. And then from white, you'll see the knight from c3 with their knight again to c3. And then black will move to g4. And if you see this particular move from black, I would highly suggest you attempt to complete this trap or to set the trap. What you'll want to do is a simple move with your pawn from, you're going to move h2 to h3 with pawn. What that's essentially going to do is either force the bishop to take the knight, which you'll see quite often, which you can then just recapture with your queen. But if they choose not to do that, they'll move backwards and thinking that they'll be pinning your knight to the queen. And so this is where the trap is essentially being set. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to kick that pawn. You want to move that particular pawn there, and the bishop will then move back. Once the bishop moves back, you'll then want to move forward with the trap, which is to take this pawn on e5 with your knight. And what will happen is they'll think that you had forgotten that your knight was pinned to the queen, and they'll go ahead and take your queen. Now this is ideal for you because they're falling for your trap. And then what will happen is you'll, instead of taking the bishop down here, you'll move your bishop to the f7 square, checking the king. And once that's completed, then the game's pretty much over. The only position that they can move to is their king to e7 position. So they'll move their king to the e7 position, and then checkmate is here in one move. So this particular checkmate is only 8 moves if done correctly, if your opponent blunders with the sacrifice of your queen. So as soon as you move your knight to the d5 square, then that's checkmate. So I really hope you like this one. This is probably one of my favorite ones. I've seen success on this one. However, sometimes it doesn't work because you'll run into a player that sees that the sacrifice isn't necessarily working for them. And just be sure to remember that this h2 to h3 pawn is extremely important whenever you're attempting to set the trap. So anyways, hope you liked it. Let's go on to the next one. All right, guys, so this is the final chess opening. Really like this one. It's going to be the Kieninger trap. George Kieninger was a German chess player that had created this trap in Vienna. And so I want to do it because, again, it's a black opening. I love playing black. So let's get into it. But before that, please do me the favor of subscribing to the channel or liking this video or giving your feedback, because your feedback is extremely important to us here at Chess Openers, and we want to go on creating more and more videos for you. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first move is going to be from white. It's going to be the queen's pawn. And it's a simple white to d4, a black responds with knight to f6. And so I like it because it's just, right off the bat, it's an attack from black. So white responds with the Indian game. It's a normal variation. It is a queenside pawn to c4. And so black responds with e5, pawn to e5. White takes the pawn to e5 from white, and then the knight moves to g4 and starts to prepare for this particular trap. White responds with knight to f3, just an opening move for white, and black responds with knight to c6. So continuing forward, white is then going to respond and solidify the center of the board with bishop to f4. And then we see the response, it's bishop to b4, checking the king. And this is where the trap begins to really take effect. And as you can see, we're going to move on to the next move. One of the first things white does is move his knight to d2, as an opener for him, and just to take away from the threat of the bishop. And then the funny move here from black is the solidification of the center defense with queen to e7. This is a move I really like because you're getting your queen involved. And then what you'll see is white attack the bishop that's left there with an attack on a3 from white. And so the next move here is the move towards the trap, which is essentially taking the middle pawn with knight to e5. And so what will happen here is the individual you're playing against won't see the following move, which is the checkmate, because they're looking at the a3 pawn taking the bishop here. And so the move from the knight to the capture here is essentially moving forward with the trap, and you've successfully laid it if they do take the bishop. So what you'll see is the white player will take the bishop on b4, and once you've seen that, you can simply move your knight over to the d3 square, and you'll see that you've checkmated your opponent because he's unable to move anywhere. And as you can see, he's unable to capture your knight because you've successfully moved your queen to the e7 position, which is covering the knight when it comes to the capture. And so I really like this one. It's really nifty, and it's about 8 moves to checkmate. So if you can successfully set up this trap, then that's awesome. So anyways, I hope you liked it. If you sticked around for the video, I really appreciate you sticking around. It was kind of long. We're going to be bringing you more videos weekly, so we're really excited about that. And again, if you have a moment, go ahead and like this video and comment on what you think if you, again, have other chess traps that you do. And so thanks again, and have a good rest of the day. Alright guys, last tip for you is just this book that I have up here. It's by Bobby Fischer, My 60 Memorable Games. It's Introduction to the Games by International Grandmaster Larry Evans. So I highly recommend it. Definitely check it out when you can. And make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Hope you're having a good rest of the day. Thanks again.